used to work for a big company, but I quit when my ex-coworker shared how she was making triple the money by working alone and posting ads on Craigslist Marketplace. Intrigued, I decided to give it a try. It turned out to be a lucrative gig, and for about 7 months, everything went smoothly. But then, things took a strange turn. Since that incident, I've never come across anyone as creepy, and I really hope I never do again. I received a typical email requesting house cleaning services. The process involved them specifying the rooms needing cleaning, and I would then determine the cost based on the estimated time required. Typically, I would visit their house for an estimate, or they could send a video walkthrough. This approach mirrored what I used to do at my previous job, albeit with a more competitive pricing strategy. Clients appreciated the consistency of having the same cleaner each week, which added to their comfort level. The man provided me with a video walkthrough of his house, and I noticed that it was already quite clean. This was a common occurrence with clients who preferred to maintain a high level of cleanliness and wanted someone to focus on the details. After agreeing on a date and time, I went for the first cleaning session a few days later. The job involved about 3.5 hours of work, covering both the top and bottom floors, excluding the basement. I paid special attention to the kitchen and bathroom tiles, ensuring they received thorough cleaning. He welcomed me at the door and escorted me upstairs to start cleaning my way down. That's when things took a turn. I started cleaning, assuming he would leave, but he lingered, watching me intently. While it's not uncommon for older clients, particularly women, to want to supervise, his gaze felt different. It wasn't focused on the cleaning tasks, but on me. Sensing the discomfort, I asked if there was anything else he needed, but he just stood there silently for a moment. "You know, when I saw your ad on Craigslist, I knew I had to have you. At first, I didn't think of this in any kind of flirty way. I just saw this as some older white guy telling me, a Mexican woman, that I was meant to be good at cleaning. I didn't really care. I've heard it all the time. They usually just say things out of ignorance. But I wanted the money, so I kept my mouth shut and faked a response. Oh, well, thank you. I usually ask that people stay out of the room, though. It's just easier to clean that way," I explained. He responded with a no problem, but his actions contradicted his words. After exiting the room, he simply moved to another room across the hallway and sat on the bed, continuing to watch me from there. This situation was starting to make me feel very uncomfortable, and the thought of being under his gaze for the entire 3.5 hours was unsettling. Then, I came up with a plan. After finishing with the dusting, I started vacuuming and strategically positioned myself behind the door. This allowed me to slightly adjust the door so it was only slightly ajar, ensuring he couldn't watch me for at least the time I was in that room. My goal was clear: to endure the day, receive my payment, and never return to this place again. I then proceeded to the bathroom connected to the room I was cleaning. About 20 minutes into scrubbing the grout, I got that uneasy feeling of being watched once more. Turning around, my suspicions were confirmed. There he was, standing in the doorway. "Sorry to bother you. I forgot to tell you to leave the vanity as is. It was my wife's. She died years ago in '09. It's been really rough going through all that, so I want to preserve it," he explained apologetically. I replied with a simple, "Okay." And after an awkward moment of silence and uncomfortable staring, he finally left the room. As I continued cleaning around the master bathroom vanity, I couldn't shake off a nagging thought. Why hadn't he provided specific instructions earlier to leave the vanity untouched if it held such sentimental value? However, as I meticulously cleaned around the vanity, I noticed something peculiar. There were makeup products scattered on the counter, products that I knew had only been released in recent years, well after the claimed date of his wife's passing in 2009. It was 2017 at the time, and some of the makeup items were from lines introduced no earlier than 2015. This realization was unsettling, especially considering his insistence on preserving the vanity. It dawned on me that if the vanity had truly been left untouched since his wife's passing, it would have shown signs of decay and neglect. If I was uneasy before, the situation now had me completely on edge. Thankfully, while I finished cleaning upstairs, he no longer watched or spoke to me. However, the thought of moving downstairs filled me with dread. Despite this, I was halfway through my task and determined to see it through to the end. Once downstairs, I began with the kitchen. It was from this vantage point that I could see into the living room, and once again, something felt off. The house was devoid of personal photographs. In my extensive experience cleaning homes, I'm talking hundreds, I've never encountered a home without a single picture on display. Even the most solitary individuals usually had some holiday cards or family photos on their fridge. I couldn't pinpoint why, but the absence of any personal touches unnerved me greatly. Just as I resolved to finish up quickly and offer him a discount, he appeared in the doorway, asking if I could do him a favor. When he asked if I could do him a favor, I cautiously inquired what he needed. He explained that although the original agreement explicitly stated no basement, he had overlooked the fact he was expecting guests the following week. The basement, he mentioned, housed the pool table and was a key area for entertaining his guests. He only wanted it to be quickly vacuumed. I hesitated, explaining that my schedule was already quite tight, and I might not be able to accommodate his request that day. Perhaps next time. In response, he suggested I could forego cleaning the dining room, which was seldom used, and focus on the basement floors instead. Trying to offer a compromise, I said I could return the next day to clean the entire basement, not just the floors, hoping to delay the task. However, it was at this point that I noticed a significant shift in his demeanor. He began acting strangely and insisted that he just needed the floor cleaned today, expressing confusion as to why I wouldn't just do it. He then mentioned that both he and his wife really needed the basement floors to be cleaned. This reference to his wife, whom he had previously said had passed away years earlier, was a red flag for me. It was at this moment that I realized he might have had some sinister intentions, although I wasn't sure what exactly he was planning. Trying to maintain a sense of normalcy, I told him that if time allowed, I would clean the basement floors. "Well, can I just show you what needs to get done down there? It won't take long, just really quick," he insisted, fully aware that he was not going to take no for an answer. To evade his persistent attempts, I pretended to receive a phone call and swiftly left the room. I urgently contacted a friend, explaining the unsettling situation in Spanish, hoping the man wouldn't understand. Thankfully, My friend agreed to come to the address to ensure my safety upon leaving. After ending the call, I fabricated a family emergency as an excuse to leave immediately and promised to return the next day to complete the cleaning, knowing it was a lie. He responded with a chilling indifference, saying, "Don't bother," before retreating upstairs. As I hastily gathered my belongings, I resigned myself to the fact that I wouldn't be paid. Despite this, I felt immensely relieved to escape from that unsettling environment. While I was loading my car, my friend arrived, offering a sense of security. During this time, the man watched me intently through his window, adding to the unease of the moment. Once safely away, I reached out to the police from the comfort of my home to report the unsettling encounter. Unfortunately, their response was limited. Since the man hadn't actually broken any laws and was merely acting in a creepy manner, their hands were tied. Their advice echoed my own thoughts. Avoid returning to that house, a plan I had already firmly decided on. This experience served as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of offering services through platforms like Craigslist. The reality is that it's challenging to discern the intentions of those you're dealing with online. Therefore, it's crucial to listen to your instincts. Always inform someone you trust about where you'll be working and when you expect to return. These precautions are essential for personal safety in the uncertain world of freelance and independent services. I'm not sure what that man had in mind or what he intended for me in his basement, but I sincerely hope no one else ever has to discover it.